decided to do a series now on how to incorporate more whole grain flour into your sourdough bread. I mean, a lot of people start off with using white bread flour, and you can quite quickly get good results using white bread flour. But as we know, the nutritional content of white flour is pretty poor and also very low in fiber. So really, if you can, the idea is to really get more flavor as well, is to get more whole grain flour into your sourdough bread. And this really involves a bit of a change in process to do that. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do a series of videos on slowly introducing more whole grain flour, which is like the whole kernel or whole berry of the flour, into your sourdough bread. So you're getting a much more nutrient rich loaf, much healthier for you, higher in fiber, all the good things that you need in there. So first of all, what I'm going to do is, I've got a lovely starter here. This is a rice starter. I've got actually a few videos on this, on how to produce a rice starter. So if you want to have a look at this, you'll find this video on rice. Rice is a great way to, flour is a great way to get it started going and get some really good activity in there. So that's my rice starter. So I'm going to start off with 100 grams of my rice starter. I'm going on here. Roughly, I'm not going to be too exact about this because it really doesn't matter within the few grams you get on there. This smells beautiful, a lovely sweet smell to this rice starter. Okay, 104, so I'm really happy with that. So I've got a bit left in the jar, which I'll keep in the fridge for next time. Probably I'll make a loaf in a couple more days time, so that will stay fine in the fridge and then get that going again in a couple of days. So that's fantastic. Now I'm going to put in, next stage for doing this is to add your water in. So I use filtered water here. So I'm going to put in here 430 grams of water into my starter. This is going to mean, this helps to incorporate the starter into the water. Putting this in like this gives you a really good head start on there. 28. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, that's fine. Too exact. Then basically I'm going to mix this around until we've got all of the starter pretty much dissolved into the water. There we go on there. So don't have to be too exact, but that's pretty good now. That's cool. That's kind of gone up pretty well on there. Looks great. Now I get the scales out again, and I want to add in now. I'm going to this first one I'm going to make. I'm going to add in 30% whole grain to the mix. So, you know, it's a good starting point to get you start off with 30% whole grain to get you going. If you're used to just kind of baking with with just white flour, this is a good place to begin really. So that means that's 180 grams then of whole grain flour. And if you can, get organic. I try all different kinds. So here we go. So this is 180 grams now of whole wheat flour. Okay, there we go. That's 30%. And now I've got organic white flour here. I'll just top that up with white flour here to get to 600 grams. So I think you'll find making sourdough this way, you're going to get a lot more flavor in your sourdough as well. And it really is a skill to work on. It helps you to, I guess, stretch your muscles a little bit as far as making sourdough is concerned, because you have to get things, change the process a little bit and be a little bit more thorough on your process to get a really good light bread with high quantities of whole grain. So there we go. So I'm going to do now, just mix that up. I've made a little bit of a mess there, which is good. And get that going in here. So now, because we put the water in there with the starter, we're going to now get a really good incorporation. And so we're so at this point now, when it's kind of getting almost together there, mixed around, I'm going to put in my salt now. So about 2% salt. So I'll put the ingredients list on the start of the video as well, so you can look at that. I just measure that out really on here. So that's about 2% for this. which is around about between 10 and 12 grams, depending on how salty or how you like your bread. So what I'm going to do now really is just give that a mix around and leave this probably for about half an hour, and then come back to it, and then we're going to do our first set of stretch and fold. So I'll just go through and mix that up, and then we'll come back in a few minutes and I'll show you the next stage of the process. Fantastic. Okay, that's great. That's been about half an hour now. So I just gave it a really rough mix. So when you first mix it, don't worry about kind of making it all silky smooth. Just kind of mix it up so it's all incorporated, and you know, in 20 seconds you're all good there. So you see it's all pretty kind of loose on there, pretty shaggy. So now we're going to go through the process of doing the first stretch and fold. This is the really important one, where you're going to get good dough strength in your bread, which is even more important when you've got whole grain flour in there. So here we go. So first thing is wet your hands. That's pretty much the universal thing as well. If you're touching dough, always have wet hands. So just ease it out of the bowl on here, and then you're going to wrap it around your hand like this, stretching as you go, stretching this way as you go, stretching that way, until you've got a nice ball of dough. And you can see it's kind of changed appearance now. It's got kind of slightly glossy look to it, and that's really what you're after. And you can see already that's mixed really well. It's actually probably quite a lot of dough strength in there already just by doing that. And the way to check that, if you want to, again, wet your hands, is just have a quick go for the window pane on here, and you can see it's actually tearing a bit. And there's a little bit, it's doing pretty well, but it's starting to tear still on there. So that's just at these stages of the process. So I'm going to leave that now for about another half an hour and come back to it. I mean, you could just leave it at that, but you're probably not going to get such a good rise, and because you haven't got such good dough strength in there. So doing this a couple more times means you're going to get a really lovely loaf of bread that's going to rise really well, be nicely aerated. So we'll come back again in about half an hour and do another stretch and fold. Okay, great. That's been about another half an hour. So let's see what we've got. So you can see now kind of the dough is relaxed, so it's kind of spread out into the bowl. So again, same process, wet your hands just lightly, and then release it from the bowl from here. Comes away pretty easily. And the same thing again, just roll it around your hand like this. And again, second way that way, and the third way, and then just make it into a nice ball like this. And you see it's getting nice and shiny there. Feels really good. And then we'll just out of interest, we'll do like a little window pane test. We may be getting somewhere close right now, I don't know. On there, she's looking pretty good. No, we're still tearing a bit on there, so that's not bad. It's kind of getting there for dough strength. Anyway, that's all good. So we'll do this again one more time. So another half an hour, come back, do it again, and then that should be it. We can let it kind of finally improve on there. So you can see how it's kind of relaxing now. It's kind of unraveling itself. So some good gluten strength in there. So just to kind of show you, like as we get like this, you'll see as it slowly starts to kind of unravel itself. There you go. So come back in half an hour and we'll do the final set of stretch and folds. There you go. Okay, great. So that's been another half an hour. So I'll just have a quick look and see how we're going. So you can see again, it's relaxed in here. I just wet my finger. You can just kind of see what it's like, kind of, but it's still very elastic on here, which is great. So next I'll go through again and do a third set of stretch and folds. So again, wet the hands. Just release it from the bowl. And then wrap it around your hand. Like that. Getting really silky now. You can see the texture's changed quite a bit. And then make it into a nice ball. Like that. This will be the last one now on there. See, it's relaxing again. So what I'll do now is I'll put the lid on here. I'll leave this probably for about, let's say, 5 hours at the moment, and I'll test it again and to see how we're going there. But then that should have fully proved. Then we'll put it into the Balaton and into the fridge for shaping there. So that's looking really good. So we'll just have a quick check again at the dough strength on here. I imagine we'll probably improve quite a bit on here now. See, that's looking really good now. So that's really good dough strength. That's fantastic. So I'm really pleased with that now, as being having good strength, because we've got the higher content of wheat flour in here, whole wheat flour. Really got to kind of check these things and make sure you've got a good strong dough, and that's looking fantastic. So going to put the lid on that, come back to it in about maybe about 5 hours time. Then I'll just do kind of a prod test or a kind of a spring test just to kind of see how it's going, and if we're good to go. So that's it now, so we can leave that, put it somewhere, and come back to you in 5 hours time. So thanks for that, and I'll see you in a bit. Okay, that's great. That's been about 5 hours now, and that's looking really good in the bowl. So what I'm going to do now, just kind of do a bit of a spring test on here. So foundation goes in, it very slowly releases from there. Get that on there. It's looking good. So kind of it's bouncing back, but you can see the indentation is still in there. So you know you're looking good there. Really pleased with that. So now it's ready to go. So what I've got here now, obviously my dough ready to go. Balancing basket, some rice flour. I'm going to put some seeds on. I've got some sunflower and pumpkin seeds on here, which is lovely. So what I'll do now is I'll go through the process. I'm going to get out of the bowl, stretch and fold it, shape it, I should say, shape the dough, put some rice flour on the balance on, and then, well, have the seeds on them. So here we go. So I'll go through the process. So we're going to wet your hands when you're doing this. Actually, no, first thing I'd say to do, is to actually dust up your balance on with some rice flour. From sticking. Also, just a little bit on the bench here would be really good for it to not stick. You don't too much on it, just a very light. Okay, that's perfect. Now I can get this out of the baton. So that feels really good. Comes out lovely in one piece. That's what you want. Now I'm going to do some stretches on here now. So see, it's nice and bubbly. This looks like it's going to be beautiful on here. Really, really nice. So that's great. And there. In the meantime, we can also get a few seeds ready on here on the side. You can see that. Okay, yep, let's see on the camera. About right. And then we're going to fold this out like this. Fold it over like that, and fold it round. There's lots of different ways to do this shaping, and ultimately, you know, you really want to have a nice formed, stretched piece of dough there. So there you go. So this looks like it's a nice coating with seeds on here. It's looking really nice. You're really happy with that. Into your balance on, the seed side down, and then give it a fold through here. So you're just kind of folding in, and you're kind of stretching as you're going. So you know you're making it taut on the base. So you can see on there now, that's lovely. We're not sticking to the side, which is great on there. So it's all looking good. What I'll do then, I'll do a final little dust on the outside. Just a little final bit of dust on here, just make sure there's no sticking at all going on. Down the sides as well, down the sides there, it's great. And that's it, absolutely perfect. So really happy with that. So what I'll do now is, that's ready to go in the fridge now. I can feel it's the right consistency. It's nice and wobbly and bubbly and looking really good. So I'll put the cover on here now, and this is going to go in the fridge now overnight. So put this in the coolest part of the fridge. For me, it's like this, the very bottom of the fridge, and at the bottom back of our fridge is the coolest place. And then tomorrow I'll go through it, and we'll bake this. So that's it for today, and I'll catch you back tomorrow with the next stage. Thanks for watching. That's great. So we're ready to bake our loaf of bread from yesterday. So we made a lovely wholemeal loaf of bread, as you saw yesterday in the process. And today we're going to go through and bake it. So what I use for that is a really sharp lar. So nice new blade in there. Semolina flour. This is to put onto the baking tray so it doesn't stick. Really useful. And a couple of ice cubes in here. It's going to get steam around the loaf. So in the first 10 minutes of baking, it helps it to rise, so it won't seal and bake the outside up too quickly. So really important to have those, and some good gloves. So I'll go ahead now and get the dough out of the fridge. Let's create that. So this is from yesterday. Looking good. A little bit of a rise on there from yesterday. That's really nice. Looks perfect. And then I'll get the Dutch oven out of the oven. So this has been in the oven now at 240 for about half an hour to get it really hot. So I'll take the lid off. It'll be quite quick here. Put a little bit of semolina flour in here. And tip the loaf out on there. It's looking really good. And one really good slash across the top. So this is where you need that really sharp knife, just to make sure, or a sharp blade, just to kind of make sure that that looks lovely in there. Really happy with that. Ice cubes in. Put it on as quick as you can to trap the steam, and then into the oven. Great, so that's in the oven now for 20 minutes at 240. So I'll just set the timer on here. There we go. So I'll come back in 20 minutes, take the lid off and see how we're going, but all should be good. So back in 20 minutes. Oh, that's great. So that's been 20 minutes now. So I'll get it out of the oven and let's have a look. Well, that's looking really great. Nice lift on there, looks really nice. Opened it really well, so I'll put that back in the oven again at 2. This is going to go in there for 220 for another 20 minutes. Great, so I'm going to turn that down to 220 for 21 minutes there. So let's put that on the clock. Off we go. That's great. Great, well that's been about 18 minutes now, so that's getting close towards the kind of the full baking time. So what I normally do at this point is just kind of have a look, you know, because you're getting close to it, you don't want to overcook it, don't want to undercook it. So let's put it on and have a quick look here. Okay, well that's looking pretty good there. But I still think for me, probably, even though it's kind of crunchy on top, for me, I would give that another kind of maybe 2 or 3 minutes there. So I'll give it 3 more minutes in the oven now and bring it out again. But that's, for some people, would that be ready? For me, I like a little bit more colour. So add a little bit more colour to it for another 3 minutes. Right, back in 3 minutes. That's great, so that's the extra 3 minutes there, taking it up to about 21 minutes now. So I'll just switch that off and let's have a look and just see how we're going on there. Right, that's looking really good. Bit more colour on here. You could even go another couple of minutes actually on there. Get a little bit more colour on top. But that's looking like a really lovely loaf. So that's 30% whole milk flour in there. So this is the first of a series of 3 videos going through showing you this kind of introduction one here, where we're going 30%, going through to maybe 50, 70, maybe even a 4th one at 100% whole milk flour. So I'll start the next videos next few days there and kind of go through, and I'll let you know once we've got the next videos in here. So enjoy, and this is a good place to start for you. So 30% whole grain flour in there, fantastic. Okay, so it's been a couple of hours now, so just to cool down the rack, and so now the grand reveal. Let's see what we've got. So I'll just cut into the leaf. I won't go. Anyway, let's go through here and see. Nice and crunchy. Do what you want. There you go. Beautiful aerated loaf. Lovely crumb on there. Lovely texture. Just going to be a great loaf. So there you go. So that's a 30% whole grain loaf. As I say, in the next few videos, we'll go through and do like maybe do a 50, maybe a 70, and maybe 100% whole grain loaf, and show you the difference and the techniques you can put in place there to give yourself a lovely kind of crumb like this, nice array of bread with a higher grain, a higher percentage of wholemeal or whole grain flours in there. So this will be a lovely healthy loaf, lovely seeds and nuts on the outside there, and beautiful. So there you go. So please subscribe to the channel, and I'll keep on doing these videos and showing you more techniques for getting beautiful, healthy, fantastic sourdough bread. Thanks for watching. Catch you again next time.